Hi there, it's Karen here from Turquoise Treasures. Welcome back to my channel, and today we're going to be making the cover for my Fairy Sparkles journal. You can't get more sparkly than this. This was I think a table runner. My sister gave it to me 2 or 3 months ago, and she just said, "Can you do anything with this?" And I said, "I don't know, but I just love it, so I'm going to find a way to use it." And this journal was just the perfect thing for it. So it's the colour that I love, and it's the colour of that appears in all the digitals. So yeah, it's going to be the perfect cover with all the sparkly sequins on it. Could be a bit of a challenge to actually make it stick it on, but I have managed to cut it down without too much trouble because it was very, very long. So I have just cut it to size, but it will need a bit more trimming. So I'm just trying to decide whether to glue it first or trim it first. So this is the size I've got. So I'm inclined to glue the envelope, which is what I'm using, one of these big 9x12 envelopes, because I've used these quite often. This is my regular thing to use, because that's what Gail usually uses for hers, and they work really well. I like the softness of them. And the fact that it can, it kind of rounds as you fill it, so you haven't got that hardness of a hardback book. So I tend to gravitate towards using these. So I think what I'm going to do is glue this to the fabric before I then start trimming, because I think it's definitely too wide top and bottom. And I probably will want to trim off the seam here, just because it's going to be a bit bulky when it's folded in. Because I'm going to fold this in, and then I've got my sprayed fabric to go on the inside, which I think I may need a little trimming before I glue it down, but I'll see. And that's going to be the inside of the cover. So I think the first thing to do is to apply some glue to my envelope. I tend to do it half at a time, just to make sure it doesn't dry the first bit by the time I get finished doing the whole thing. So I'm just going to... Now I do plan to sew round it. It could be a bit tricky. I may have to snip off some of these sequins, so I'm not quite sure how that's going to happen, but I really do want to sew round it if I can. So I'm going to try and stay slightly within the edge with my glue. Might take a while to get this flowing. I haven't used it for a bit. So I'm just going to put the glue on the first side and turn it over, and then I'll glue the other side. And hope that works. It's been a while since I've made a cover. So and it's certainly never used anything quite as heavily decorated before you even start as this one. So fingers crossed it all works. So the nice bit of glue on that side. I'm just going to try and centralise it. I want to make sure that because the sequins are only halfway, I want to try and make sure it's central, so I need to move it up a little bit, I think. Yep, I think that's about right. Let's hope. Let's see. I just tuck it in that side, tuck it in this side. Hopefully it's come a little bit. It needs to go up a little bit if I can make it go up a little bit. Hang on, which way's up a little bit? I think it needs to come down. It probably needs more glue now. Right, let's try that. Have I done that? Have I done that right? I will add more glue if I need to. I just want to try and get it into position. So I want this fairly evenly spaced. I probably should have put it on this way round. No, it needs to go. Let's do it so that it goes that way. Make sure I've got enough space the other side. Right, are we correct now? Put that side. Yeah, it's about even top and bottom. That's good. I'll just straighten it up. Okay. I may need to put a bit more glue on, I think, now that I've got it where I want it. This is all dried a bit, of course. Never seems to be a good way to do this so that it works perfectly, but let's put a bit more glue on. Hopefully once I've been able to stitch it a bit, it'll actually work okay. Right, just quite hard to smooth down with these sequins. Dab it down a bit. Perhaps if I use my big stamping block, I can do it that way. Just put a little bit more glue on here, on this side as well. Right. Okay. Hopefully that's okay. That's fairly well glued. Yeah, I'm going to have to snip off some of these sequins, I think, but hopefully that won't cause things to unravel too much. Right, I'm going to put a bit more glue now on this side. Just slightly in from the edge so that I can actually sew around that edge and not get it glued up. This dries so quickly, and I'm not doing it very thick, so it's going to dry even more quickly. So I'm going to have to try and get the fabric down as fast as I can. What I did do, where I cut it off, cut off the rest of the runner, I have glued it because it's got a lining, so there's two layers of fabric here. So I just glued the edge together inside just so that it wouldn't come apart too much when I'm gluing it, and to keep it aligned. At least that was the idea. I'm hoping that will. So I didn't put any glue right in the middle, just because I don't want to have a problem with sewing it in. Don't think it would actually, but right, let's make sure the envelope is folded in half in the middle so we know where the middle is. Okay. Now it's glued on, I'm going to need to trim off each side somewhat. Just put the top back on this for the moment. I'll try and keep it upside down in my pot so it's ready to go. Okay, that was the scary bit, it's trimming it, because I don't cut that terribly straight, but I'll do my best. Seems to have no problem cutting through the the sequins, they're obviously, I can feel the occasional bit of resistance, but not very much. They're a lot easier to cut through than I thought they'd be, she says, and then leave it a bit behind. Right, and I'll do the same on the other side. My theory is, if this goes horribly wrong, I've got more envelopes and I've got a lot more of the table runner. So if it doesn't work, I'll have to start again. So I'm not going to panic about it. I'm just going to do it. Okay, the other bit I have to trim off is just this little edge here. So just trim off the end. Just because the sewn bits are quite, because it's folded in and to give it a nice edge, it's obviously a lot more bulky along the edge. So that needs to come off. Still, that could be used, I'm sure, for something. Right. Now, I think what I need to do is just glue in the two bits of fabric to each other before I turn it in, otherwise I'm going to be turning in two bits at a time. So I'm just going to glue that a little bit inside. I've already done it on this side, I think. Yes, that side's already glued in. This piece needs a little bit of a trim. Oh, right. Already come off. Just haven't pulled it away properly. Okay, I'm just going to glue inside this piece as well. It's tricky, but using these double layer fabric, this is all a bit of a learning curve doing this. But it's almost like every time you do something, you learn something new, or you're doing something different. Nobody wants to do the same thing every single time. So using this kind of thing that's already been sewn together is a new thing for me at the moment, but we'll see how it turns out. Just want it to stick to itself. It doesn't need an awful lot. Right, now I'm going to use the Pam method of pulling in the corners first, doing the right angles like that, and then I'll fold it in. So I have to do I'm not going to do it really super fast like she does, where she does a blob in each corner and then she goes for it. I'm just going to take it steadily, because I like the corners to be covered, and I always find cutting the corners doesn't work for me. I've always got a little bit sticking out. So I'm going to try doing it her way. I think hopefully that will be the way to go. It's remembering to go at a right angle. Like that, I think. Both pieces need to be folded together. There we are, that right angle there. That going in there. And the last corner. Nope, that's not a right angle, is it? No. Bit more glue. And that goes like that. Right. And then we try and see if we can pull this in nice and tightly. Whoop. Yeah, this is a sort of fabric that's going to fray really, really easily. But hopefully when I've covered it with the inner liner, it'll all be underneath. That's the idea. All these frayed edges will be covered up. Okay, next piece. In case I didn't mention, I'm using Fabri-Tac, which seems to be the best thing to use in these circumstances with fabrics. Works really well. It grabs quickly. Right. Some of these sequins may need to be snipped off just because of the bulk of them. Not that they're very small actually, they're very flat, so it may not be necessary. Well, I haven't got a perfect corner here, but I think it'll be okay. It's a bit not as sharp as it should be. I may well want to use some metal corners on this one. I think I will, because that'll protect it even more. Okay, let's do the next one. It's getting a bit gloopy, I just need to give that a clean. Take the Fabri-Tac right to the edge of the fabric, make sure it all, hopefully all holds in place. Let's try and get this corner as sharp as I can. Flattish. And then the last side. Make sure that's stuck down as well. Okay, right, here we go, nearly done. A bit of glue along there as well. Okay, let's pull this in as sharply as we can. Corner's not great, but I think if I'm able to put on a book corner, it'll look okay. And there's a few of these little sequins just sticking out around the corner, which I might have to I might just snip those off. We'll see how it looks with whether I need to take all of them off, I don't know. So let's see, I've decided which is so there we are. Don't think it matters which side is the front and the back. See which, if either of them look better than the other. Sharper maybe. Maybe that looks better. So that's my front. Now I do want to put something here. I can't finish it right now because I'm waiting for some dies to come. I ordered some dies from Amazon, fairy dies, but I think they must be coming from probably from China, because they're not due for a little while, a couple of weeks I think. I've still got to wait, so I can go so far with this, but then I'll have to wait for my dies to come to finish it. So I'm just going to snip 1 or 2 sequins and hope they're not going to cause too much unravelling of other things. Just because they're kind of sticking over the edge of the cover. There's another one here. I might just apply a dab of glue just to make sure the stitching doesn't come undone. Another one here. Okay, see if I can see where I did it. Try to do the tiny dot of glue just to seal it. And where else was I? Trying to see where I did it now. That one's got glue. I'll have to keep an eye out, won't I, see if anything looks like it wants to unravel. And the same on the other side. Perhaps I'll glue it as I snip them off. I can't remember where I've done it. Tiny bit dab. Maybe I'll get to reuse these sequins. Snip this one. These are not the sharpest scissors. They're just nice and small with a little pointy bit, but they're not particularly. They're quite old, so they're not very sharp. There we go. Just smooth that into place, and hopefully that'll stop any unravelling. Does anything else need to be? Maybe these two. They're right on the edge here. There's one here. I've got some little snips somewhere. Let's get those out. Just trying to think where they are. Don't think they're in here, are they? No, in there. Bear with. Let's see if I can find my snips. They're sharper. Are they here? It's always the last place to look, isn't it? They must be in here. Yeah. Right, they mean business. Let's snip this. See if I can make them work. Come on, just a little snip. That's all I need. Right, that one fought back, didn't it? Dab of glue again. Just rub it on so it's hopefully not visible. Okay, one last one, I think. Right. Little bunch of sequins that I might be able to reuse because they're just the perfect colour. Where's that one? There we go. To put them somewhere safe. Okay, so that's the outside edge, the two edges. I think they'll be all right. I'm just see how whether I need to take them off, these inside ones off, because it could be quite good. Don't need them there because they're going to get covered up. Certainly these edge ones. I might just snip these off because then I can reuse them. So I think what I might do is I'll turn off the camera, snip off the excess sequins, and then I'll come back and we'll glue in the inside. Okay, so I've trimmed off all my excess sequins. I've got them all in a nice little pot here, ready to use another time. And I've got my tool from Bronda that I can use to pick them up. It makes life a lot easier. So I've got that ready to hand. So this is now, I had to trim this a little bit just to make it fit, but I like the way it just fits inside there. So I'm just going to glue this in now, bit at a time, as usual. Make sure I've got it right up at the edge. I'm going to pull this towards me a little bit. Just make sure I got plenty of glue. See if I can make sure I flatten it down nicely. Way down the edge. Lots on that corner bit where it's still a little bit bulky, but hopefully once I've put the top layer on, we can flatten it down nicely. Alright, just try and get as much on as I can, as quickly as I can. Another layer down there. Right, let's see if I can get this to glue into place nicely. And I can always do a little bit of a few little bits of extra dabs of glue anywhere that's missed, like the corners. Right, let's do the other side. Gluing these large areas is always a bit of a challenge. All the squeezing. We're getting there, it's coming. Probably have to top my bottle up again. It's a lot easier when your bottle's fairly full. Bit down there. And just some down this side here. So I can see this where the sequins I've not removed, and that kind of shows me the edge of where my fabric needs to come, I think. Hopefully. Alright, let's see if that will stick down. I very nearly, before I turned the camera back on, I had this piece of fabric on upside down, and I didn't realise, and I was thinking, well, where's my gold? Where's my gold bits that I did? What happened to them? And then I realised I had the fabric back to front, because it looks exactly the same the other side, except the gold hasn't gone through, that just sits on the surface. So I realised in time that I had it back to front, or upside down, whatever way you want to look at it. I had this underneath. So fortunately, I realised that before I started gluing. That would have been a disaster. Right, let's just trim off some of these bits, but I think what I'd like to do when it dries, I am going to go round it with my sewing machine. And then all these little stringy bits hopefully will stop coming off. I think I'll try and do a bit of a zigzag all the way round. And then that should hold it all in place with any luck. And it just gives it a nice finish. So I've just got to decide what colour I'm going to use. So I think that may be all we need to do for now on the cover. The other thing I'm thinking I might do right at the beginning, which I don't normally do, is my closure. Because I know I want to do an eyelet closure here, or somewhere in the middle. Both sides, and so I've got a nice big bow. Then I won't have to worry about wrapping anything around. I'll just put a piece of ribbon or some sari silk or something like that at the edge to hold it closed. So I don't need to actually put the ribbon on yet, but I could put the actual eyelet in, and then I know where it's going to be and work everything else. And any other image or anything I put on the front will then be able to work around that. So that might be something that I could do. No, I need to do that after I've sewn, don't I? Yes. Yes, I do. Sew first, and then do the eyelet. So I think I'm going to have to pause for a bit to let this dry first. I may need to remove one or two more of these little sequins before I start sewing, because one or two are so close to the edge that it might make sense to remove those as well. And on the inside I may just have to take a few more off so that the sewing machine doesn't catch on them. So there's one here that's right near the edge. The others might be just about okay if I can stay close to the edge. So yes, so I think what I'll have to do is do that off camera. I'll sew around it off camera, and then I'll come back to do my eyelet closure. Alright, so I'll be right back, and hopefully that will have worked. Okay, see you soon. Okay, I thought while I'm waiting for my cover to dry, I do a bit of collaging and create a masterboard or two from this magazine that I use for doing these things, because I've got loads of papers left over that once I've chosen the papers for my signature, so I thought it would be quite a good idea to use those to do a bit of a masterboard, and then I can make some ephemera, because I've got lots of ephemera as part of the kits, but they tend to be quite small. A lot of them are quite very small tags, which is lovely, and little pockets, but I think I might need some bigger things as well, maybe the odd larger journal card for a belly band, and maybe some pockets I'll need to make. So I thought, well, if I do some masterboards, then I've got them ready to go when I need to make some ephemera as I go along. So this seems to be a bit stuck together already. So yeah, so I'm just going to make a start on that, and I've got some papers here from the little fairy ephemera kit that I bought, which has got some papers from different books to do with fairies. So I thought, well, I could use that as my bits of book page. They can go in as well. And I've got this funny little piece of paper which has got a little fairy on it, so I thought, well, that might be able to work that in. So I'm just going to make a start and start tearing them up and sticking them on, because I've got so many beautiful images on these papers. I definitely want to use them. Although I do think this one is one of the papers from the signature anyway, but I think when you start tearing them up and putting them in, you know, and mixing them in with the other papers, it will look different. So, oh, just one moment. Hello?
Sorry, if you're on the, just ignore me.
Okay. He's told me to ignore him, so I'm going to ignore him. So I'm just going to be tearing up these papers. Yeah, where's my other ruler? I need to... So I meant to put this at the top, but now I've done a jaggedy edge. I'll have to put it at the bottom. Do a little... Turn it up that way. Okay. So I might just put that down there. Such a pretty image with that butterfly. I'm just going to put that there. Now I won't glue it down quite yet. I like to do a little bit of arranging. So I'm going to put a piece of that up the top maybe with the lantern. Not sure how this is going to end up, but I just thought it would be quite fun to do because I needed to do it, and while my covers were drying, it seemed like a good idea to do something else that would be useful further down the line. So I'm just going to tear these off. So there we go. Put that there. What else we got? Try and find some things I haven't used as part of my signatures. The trouble is, all my favourite papers are already being used. This one is a bit kind of general, dark green, mysterious, woodlandy type of thing. Tear a bit of that off. And maybe I'll put that. Not to do make them too small, but when they cut up, you want some variety of papers on there. I could do that up that corner there. Maybe, yeah, don't know. Trying to put them together so they actually work together. Little piece of fairy paper, lots of little tiny fairies. Going to go along the side there. Okay, it's a bit brown and green and brown, isn't it there? So I might have to mix it up a bit. So I've got lots of pink in these kits, so I need to get a bit of that in there, I think. Maybe try and put a piece of this in. Just tear it all the way down and then see what I'm going to use. So I don't want it all green on one side and all pink and turquoise on the other. That's not really going to work, is it? Right, so I might take that piece out. Is that going to work? I don't know, it's a bit too much. Maybe put that there and then have that going across. Across there maybe. Alright, let's try doing that. What else have we got? She's quite nice. Might better pop her in somewhere. Maybe in there. Kind of in there, something like that. Don't know. Right, let's a piece of this will go in as well. I wonder if I can have just a little piece of this going across there. Pop that in there. Like that. That kind of brings them together, the different lights and things. Now, all of that will go in here. Oh, I was going to put a little book pagey bits in, wasn't I? Okay, right, let's try. Quite like a piece of this as well. A little bit of this, so it's not too heavy with the different images. It's all a little bit busy. I'm wondering whether that would be better here. Break it up a little bit and then have my little fairies over here. Something like that. Okay. Yeah, and I've got my page. I don't really like the image on the other side, so I might just put. Oh, it's two pages here. It's on the other side of that one. No, I don't think I'm not feeling that one either, so use a piece of this. There's a little sort of poemy thing here. That was by Shakespeare. So I might try and put that on, from Romeo and Juliet. We'll see how that looks. What about this little fairy down here? Squeeze her in somewhere. Oh, she'll go on the next one. I'll probably make more than one of these. I think she needs to go somewhere else. I just need a little piece along here now. I'm going to go a bit of the blue. I don't know whether this is looking really, really odd. Take that down a bit. Right. Okay, I might just try and start gluing some of these down now. Could be interesting. I know you should just stick them on, but I like moving things around and putting them where, and changing my mind, and like that piece is just gone on the other side now, so I've got the jaggedy edge on the wrong side, so it doesn't matter, I'll just trim that afterwards. Let's take that off. Come on. I'm going to start gluing, and I may have to edit a lot of the gluing out, otherwise we will never get this done, and I need to go back and finish doing my cover, don't I? Don't want to do that in the next video. That's got to be part of this video too. This was just to try and give me something to keep me busy while I was waiting for my cover to dry. Put that there. Oh, it's too low, too high, I mean. It's not going to go, is it? So I'm going to just pull it down a little bit. Hopefully that will, yep, that will be all right. Oops. That one. That one there. Okay, so I've stuck all that down. I moved things around a little bit, as you do, as I went along. I think this was up here, and I made this a bit smaller and cut it off and had another piece over here. So I'm quite happy with that, how that's ended up. I do probably plan to do another one. This is only A4, so it's not very big size, and I'm sure I shall need more pieces. So I'll probably do another one, but I thought that was something to get me started while I was waiting for my cover to dry, which it has in the meantime. So I have now sewn around that as well. So that's now my cover with the sewing around. The sewing has went a little bit awry here and there, but I'm not going to worry about that too much. I'm sure by the time I've covered it with other things, it's not even going to show really. So I just thought I would come back in and just show you the inside. So I managed to catch it all the way around the edge of the inside cover, which actually the inside looks better than the outside as far as the sewing goes, because I had to sew from this side to see where I was going. So this is really the back of the sewing, so you've got a few odd bits that don't look quite right, but never mind, it'll be fine. So what I want to do now is my closure with some eyelets. That's what I'm planning to do right now. So I think what I'll do is do the first one, and then once I've done that, I'll do the first hole, and then I can mark where the second hole needs to be. So it'll be, that looks like a good spot for it. I suppose I should measure just to make sure it is more or less in the middle. So the height is 9 inches as you'd expect, so it should be at about 4.5, which is about right. So yeah, so I think I'll just put my first hole about here, just around the inside there. I think I'll have to turn it around so I can do it with my left hand. So yeah, it's quite a good way to. It shows actually that the is pretty much centralised, which is good to know. So actually, I'll just open that out. And just got to line up where so I've got my eyelet setter, or the hole maker bit, on the 3/16, the larger of the two holes. So I don't want it too far in, so possibly just inside that little bit there, I think will work. Should I just catch that in a little bit? No. Just trying to decide how close to the edge I need to go. Okay, I have committed and I have made my hole. So I think I'll just get my pen. Where's a pen? Okay, so I've got my little pot of things that I need to reach easily. I couldn't find my pen. So there it is, a pen. So I just need to make sure that is lined up. And then I can just mark where the hole needs to be on the inside. Is that showing? Yes, it is. Right, so let's do the other hole. I'll do it from this side, because then I know for sure it'll be in the right place. Just check there's no sequins in the way. No, I don't think so. No, we're all good. Right, so now I'm just going to make this hole here. Okay, that's gone through nicely. I've just got a little bit of fabric just catching there. Right, now let's do the eyelet. I picked out a few choices. I haven't quite decided which one to go for. So I'm quite liking the idea of gold. I have got different coloured turquoise, which I could, but I think it's too blendy. So I think I'm either going to go for the gold with the bigger surround, or the gold with like the normal size surround, which I think I'm leaning towards. just because I think that gives me more area to play with. Yeah, I think I like that. And what I want to do, I was looking at my book corners, and I have only got very small gold ones. I quite like the idea of gold corners, but I've only got small ones, so I might have to have a look on Amazon and see if I can get any bigger ones, or on eBay. Because the only bigger ones I've got are like a dark bronzy colour, and I'm not keen on that on this one. I just feel the gold works best. So I'm going to go for the gold eyelets. Let's get my eyelet. Yep, I've got it set on the eyelet setter bit of my, oops, on the big bite. Okay. And down we go. Are we in? That's better. Okay. Yes, that's in. Go for the other one. Just going to trim up my hole a little bit because I did it from the other side. It's a little bit more jaggedy. Now hopefully by the time I put the eyelet in, that will all be covered up. Let's try it. Whoops, where's it gone? It's trying to escape. You cannot escape. Okay. I've got that lined up right. It doesn't feel right. I think I have, because it's already tried to catch. Hang on, let's have a look. Again, something's not quite. It's not quite right. I'll have to do that again. It's gone a bit off kilter, so I need to just get another one out. I hope I've got another gold one. Oh, I don't think I've used that many. Let's just have a little poke around in my pot. Find myself another gold one. Sure there is. Is that gold or silver? No. I see one. Okay, let's try that again. Obviously didn't quite line it up right, and it just went a little bit off, you know, a bit out of alignment as it went down. Get in the hole. Right, let's have another go. That's better. You can feel when it's right. But I think I could already feel it wasn't feeling quite right, but it had already caught enough for it to not be able to move it. So yep, well, I think we're all okay now. So there we have it. We have a cover and we have our closure. So that's good. Throw that one away. So great. I think we're all done for today. I will be probably, I think we'll work on some of the pages before I actually sew in the signature. There's some things I might want to do just to decorate some of the pages before I start sewing, before I sew them in, because I want to do a bit of, possibly a bit of stamping and things. So let's do that in the next video. So please do join me then. Okay, bye for now.